All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Caesar by Colleen McCullough, book number 5 in her Masters of Rome series. I've got a hardcover version of the book and a little paperback version of the book. This came out in 1997. Let's talk about the books here. I've got, let's see, it's a 7-book series. In hardcover, I've got all 7 books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got in paperback 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 paperbacks. It's because the final novel, Antony and Cleopatra, down here, they never did release a paperback version. You know, because publishers sometimes do that. They'll be sailing along just fine, releasing hardcovers and paperbacks just fine, so people can collect whichever version they want, or maybe both versions. And then for some reason, they just were like, well, we've got this pattern going where we're pretty successful. So on the last book, let's just not do the fucking paperback version. For some, it's almost like they're asking their readers to actively fucking hate them. Publishers, oh my God. Anyway, hardcover versions, I've got them all. Paperback versions, I've got them all. The ones that they were probably, anyway. Anyway. We already went over that. Fuck it. Fuck it and fuck them. It's a shame because these books are fucking magnificent. I'm going to have to edit out so many F words. I'm already off to a bad start and we haven't even started. The covers first. Let's review the covers first. So the cover of the paperback, we've got the same illustration on both. We've got black border, red border, pretty cool. The spines are all right. The back sides are all right. It's a the hardcover is just delightfully put together with maps all over the place. You know, there's maps in the back. Oh, a different map in the back here. There's a different map in the back. There's all these different illustrations. There's maps everywhere. I'm just thumbing through this and there's maps all over. There's all these different illustrations of our different characters. Now, these illustrations were done by Colleen McCullough herself. She stood in front of the sculptures of the... and I don't know when the sculptures were made of these characters, but she sketched those pieces of artwork as she looked at those sculptures. So anyway, that's the history of the... and there's a lot of the... and there's more maps. There's so many damn maps. There's just maps of everything. Everywhere Caesar went, there's maps. So this book, if you followed my channel, you know I've read and reviewed the first 1, 2, 3, 4 books in the series. I read and reviewed Masters of Rome. I read and reviewed The Grass Crown. I read and reviewed Fortune's Favorite, which has a shitty cover. I read and reviewed Caesar's Women. So in Caesar's Women, book 3, I kind of gave it a lower rating. The first 3 books were all 10 out of 10s. This one got a bit of a lower rating because it was more of the soap opera version of Caesar's life. It was more about his relationships with the women that he... Well, we're back on track with book number 5 here, because book number 5 is about... Where this was about Caesar's Women was about Caesar's women. Caesar itself is about Caesar's battles. And OMG, this is relentless in the amount of battles that it just tracks Caesar from battle to battle to battle to battle. And just everything. I mean, it is relentless. Now, it starts in 54 BC and ends in 49 BC. That always confuses me how the BC stuff is, you're counting backwards anyway to 0, which, whatever. Anyway, it starts off in Britain. Yeah, Caesar is in Britain. He's fighting over in Britain. He's 46 years old. His fleet of ships is busted up to hell. Things aren't going well. He's battle hardened. I mean, so many battles, so many campaigns. Um, his life has been just bloody and grim. This is a time when men were men. I mean, just the amount of battles he fought in the Italian Alps, the French Alps, the German Alps, the Pyrenees in Spain and in France, and now he's in Britain, and he's just been a battle commander and a warrior his whole life, always out on campaign. His family is in Rome. He goes through. I mean, this book is just about Caesar off fighting different battles with different people, even battles that he has to fight towards the end of the book against former friends and rivals from Rome. Anyway, Caesar, through it all, like I said, this is when men were men. I went on a 2-mile hike the other day into the deserts of Utah and Colorado, and it was 2 miles. I was wiped out. It wiped me out for a week. I couldn't get off the couch for a week. I mean, I would have never been a soldier in Caesar's army, especially at my age. Now, this guy's 46 years old, and at the time of this, he remains stoic throughout everything. He doesn't break. He doesn't get emotional. Emotions don't control him. Even when, after the shock of learning that his daughter has died in Rome, and he learns it through a letter, and you can tell he wants to be, he wants to shed a tear, but he's just like, nope, got to go back to work. And that's just the way he is with everybody and at every moment in time. He is just, some might say, toxically masculine, I guess. I wouldn't say that, but some might. You might, but I wouldn't. I would just say back in the day, that's the way it was. He even mentions some things that he believes about, because he likes women. He loves women. He loves women, but he doesn't get emotionally involved with women, but he loves them. And he had a theory. He had a little, I wanted to read this because he sort of shares his theories on women here. I have no one left who loves me as a woman loves her son or her father. And my poor little wife is a stranger who loves her cats more than she does me. For why should she not? They have kept her company. They have given her some semblance of love, whereas I am never there. I know nothing about love except that it has to be earned. And he doesn't feel like he's ever earned it, because he's always off fighting, building the Roman kingdom. And building the Roman kingdom was brutal. Some of the descriptions of the warfare, the aftermath of war, what they do to captives and slaves, it's some of the most grim, darkest of grim, dark writing you will ever read. And not only that, and this is sort of an aside, something I was thinking about in my head as I was reading this. Caesar seems to be the smartest guy in every room, the funniest guy in every room, the toughest guy in every room, the most stoic guy in every room. As I was reading this, I'm like, Caesar was like the Jack Reacher of the Roman era, if you know who Jack Reacher is. Anyway, that's what I was thinking. I was just like, my God, this guy's like Jack Reacher. So, there's a whole host of characters in this book. So many characters, it's like unbelievable. I mean, there's Cato, Cicero, etc., Pompey, Mark Antony, all of them. The democracy, the fighting for democracy, lawyers, courts, trials, slaves, gladiators as slaves. Caesar collects gladiators. I mean, that's sick. I have a collection of 900 gladiators. You know, they're just part of my entourage. It's just crazy. The Roman Empire was nutty as. And then I read about this girl that Caesar falls in love with in Britannia named Rhiannon. Rhainon. And I'm like, Rhiannon. He fell in love with Rhiannon and had a child. And as I was reading through this, I was like, this part seems made up. Like this part of Rhiannon, it means Fleetwood Mac did a song of, there's a lot of symbolism in every video I'd make. Fleetwood Mac did a song of Rhiannon, the Welsh witch. And I was like, was there really a Rhiannon that Caesar fell in love with and had a child with? And I was questioning that every time she came up in the book. Turns out that my instincts were correct. That that character of Rhiannon was just a made up. In the back of the book, Colleen McCullough does an afterword where she describes, and that was the only part of the book that she made up. Everything else in here is real. She's just like, I wanted him to have a love interest while he was in Britannia. So I gave him Rhiannon, the Welsh witch from the Stevie Nicks song, to have a child with. Anyway, it doesn't diminish the book at all. This book is fucking phenomenal. I will read the back of it and then I'll give you my rating, which is going to be 10 out of 10. In the long fabled history of Rome, never was there one more adored, yet more feared, than Gaius Julius Caesar. Invincible on the field of battle, like I said, he's the Jack Reacher of fucking battles. He commands the love and loyalty of those who fight at his side and would gladly give their lives for his glory. Yet in Rome there are enemies everywhere, orchestrating his downfall and disgrace. Fanatical rivals like Cato and Bibulus would tear Rome asunder just to destroy her greatest champion. It sounds like the Democrats trying to get rid of Trump. I'm not political. I don't give a shit either Democrat. I'm just like, that's the way it seems, even today. If you remember my review of the book Catalina's Riddle a couple of days ago, I talked about how brutal politics is in Rome and how much it mirrors this. This book literally mirrors the things these guys, the schemes that these guys come up with to tear down Caesar just because he's so popular. It reminds me of people trying to tear down popular politicians of today. It just does. Using their wiles and position and false promises to seduce others into the fold, facilitating Cicero the spineless, Brutus, even Pompey the Great, Caesar's former ally. They're all against him. But only ill fortune can come to good men who understand or underestimate Caesar. For Rome is his glorious destiny, one that will impel him reluctantly to the banks of the Rubicon and beyond into triumph and legend, yada, yada, yada. I should never read out loud because I can't. 10 out of 10. This book is amazing, amazing historical fiction. And whenever I read about Rome or think about Rome, because apparently men think about Rome 24 hours a day. At least when I was reading this book, I was. But anyway, whenever I think about Rome, I just think about how so much similar those days were to our days. 10 out of 10.